They're very honest. Ben Cardin, Democrat from Maryland, told the Washington Post in April, global warming laws in Washington represent the greatest, the biggest potential, the greatest revenue-generating proposal of our time, was the exact quote. So you can imagine, they don't care about the science. They care about the greatest revenue-generating proposal of their time. And remember, he who controls carbon controls life. It's a bureaucrat's dream to control carbon dioxide. We had a scientist from Princeton come and testify, Will Happer, 200 peer-reviewed scientific studies. He said the level of control that we're contemplating when you declare what we exhale from our mouth a pollutant is something that George Orwell didn't even contemplate in 1984. We are ceding over. We have the UK, a carbon card proposal where the government's going to monitor individual people, their carbon allowances. They're going to monitor how much you drive, where you set your thermostat. California's already tried regulating thermostats. This is a
No, I had the government advisor on, and he said you will all be rationed, and you only have enough food to weigh a certain amount, and bureaucrats will control every facet of your life. They're now putting the satellite tracker boxes in the cars to now control how fast you drive. I mean, it's all happening. This is their model. They admit, as you know, sir, from the audience.
President Bush started the bank bailout. And then Obama continued with the stimulus packages, and now nationalizing, we're nationalizing banks, we're nationalizing automobiles. Just to put a simple line out, never before in U.S. history has more power and wealth in decision-making been concentrated in the hands of so few. The left will talk endlessly about, the corrupt corporations, big business. The bottom line is at least big business has shareholders, has accountability to the public. Government now, we have more power and control in the smallest amount of hands that we've ever had in U.S. history, and it's only going to continue. And this is, it's an inevitable result, beginning with the New Deal and continuing with the Great Society.
5 more minutes with you on the other side. 5 more minutes with Mark Morano. It's ClimateDepot.com. But then above the government is a very small group of private corporations that operate like Spectre, and that's the New World Order. That's the Bilderberg Group. Okay, but I agree with him. We'll be right back.
Today, we cannot afford to ignore the current state of our country, the economy, job layoffs, mass foreclosures, and now we are all at risk of being exposed to this new flu pandemic. The Center for Disease Control has declared a public health emergency across the United States. What can you do to prepare yourself? The answer is ZeroFlu.com. ZeroFlu.com offers you the very best in air purifiers. These revolutionary air purifiers protect up to 3,000 square feet of your home and stop 99.9% of airborne allergens, influenza, bacteria, viruses, pollen, dust, pet dander, black mold, MRSA, and more. Not only from the air, but from all surfaces. With no filters to replace ever, you save money. Prepare yourself today. To learn more, visit ZeroFlu.com. That's ZeroFlu.com. Or call 888-766-6066. 888-766-6066 today. ZeroFlu.com. Protecting you and your family, one day at a time.
Hey folks, Alex Jones here. I'm sending out a special alert to all those out there listening with credit card debt and struggling to make payments. I'm going to give you a very important phone number. Due to a declining economy and credit crisis, you now have the power to settle your debt and lower your payments by up to 60% or more by calling the Bailout Group. This program has already settled over $100 million of debt and are saving individual consumers thousands of dollars. Folks, if you are struggling with credit card debt and those excessive interest payments, the time is now to take advantage of this opportunity. Call the Bailout Group today at 1-800-324-6554. I hope our listeners take advantage of this. The call is free, and in 10 minutes they will show you how much you can save right over the phone with one simple call. Let the Bailout Group bail you out of debt, reduce your payments by up to 60%, and save you thousands of dollars today. That number again is 1-800-324-6554. 800-324-6554. The Bailout Group.
Since 1991, the 7 Store has been helping you prepare in the event of an emergency. The 7 Store is unlike any company you have ever seen, offering a complete line of products that will prepare you for any catastrophe. At the 7 Store, we do something very different for our customers. Out of hundreds of preparedness companies in the United States, we are the only one who offers the most complete variety of preparedness items. From storable food, survival, terror and pandemic kits, water storage and self-reliant items, the 7 Store is your place for preparedness. The 7 Plan, our 46-page preparedness guidebook, is your go-to guide to help you prepare for the unexpected. You can get this book with no purchase or obligation absolutely free. For more information, please visit us online at the7store.net. That's the7store.net. Or call us today at 888-654-3447. That's 888-654-3447.
Man thinks 'cause he rules it up, you can do with it as he please.
You know, I get rabid on this subject. You start spewing facts, and they're facts. And they just say no. In fact, Al Gore, a few weeks ago, and I wanted to ask Mark Morano of ClimateDepot.com about this, former Senate advisor and aide and researcher, one of the preeminent people, kind of a clearinghouse to expose all this. And they said, what about all these thousands of scientists? I mean, there's thousands and thousands. I've seen letters of 10,000, 20,000 they sign. The vast majority saying it's all a fraud. The top climatologists, the top experts on the Arctic, they're everywhere. I'm just saying, look, it's a fraud. The people that look at the sun, you know, I mean, all of it. And Al Gore just said, well, there's people that think, you know, there's flying saucers and we went to the, and we didn't go to the moon. And that's what they do. They just say, first they said everyone agrees. And they said, oh, everybody who's credible agrees. And then, well, everybody who's sane believes. And meanwhile, it's just an unbelievable fraud. And then they brought up saying, well, what about how Ken Lay of Enron came up with this idea for carbon credits? And then Al Gore says, I don't know anything about that. And he goes, well, your partner was part of it. And he goes, no, he's not. And we went and looked it up. Al Gore knows that and is involved. I mean, these people are just despicable. How do we beat them? How do we stop these bastards? They're in the Senate right now. They're trying to ram it through. They're saying on the news, we are dead unless we have an international body that taxes and regulates every facet of our lives, and if we don't have weekly bureaucrats inspecting our homes.
Yeah, real quick, just so people don't think, you know, I'm being conspiratorial here, or, you know, Jacques Chirac, the French president's own words were the UN Global Warming Treaty Kyoto was the first step to authentic global governance. These are their own words. EU official came out and said that, you know, the Kyoto represented leveling the playing field for the world, meaning, you know, the take from the rich. I was at UN conferences where they're proposing a global carbon tax on countries, and guess what? The wealthy nations get hit the hardest, and guess what? The UN would decide to administer the funds. These are their own words that they're saying, and they're being very open about their goals when they do this. You mentioned Al Gore and the astronaut. I can't let this go by. He told a House hearing 2 weeks ago that he compared global warming skeptics to people who think the moon landing was faked. Well, the bottom line is that talking point is now moot, as one of the moon landers himself, astronaut Jack Smith, and a geologist, came out and declared himself a skeptic late last year. So Gore doesn't even have his updated to his talking points. You asked about how to defeat this. The bottom line is the Republicans, surprise, surprise, are actually doing a pretty good job in the House right now. They're unified. A couple of Republicans have introduced a carbon tax as a sort of diversion, from what I gather, because all the liberals, that would be their dream, but it's not politically doable. But the bottom line is Republicans are doing pretty well, led by Congressman Joe Barton. The Democrats are doing very well. One of the Democrat agricultural chairmen said he's off the train. He will not support a climate bill. Waxman, the committee in charge of this in the House, Congressman Waxman has basically said no votes, no problem, and he's talking about bypassing the committee if he doesn't have the votes to bring it to the full floor. How do we stop cities?
How do we stop cities and states doing it?
Well, the bottom line is the American people are absolutely have indicated every way possible that not only don't they care about this issue, they couldn't give a damn about this issue. It ranks dead last among all issues. Among environmental issues, it ranks dead last. Eventually, the American people have to wake up. I think there's been such complacency. They have no idea what's going on. The first thing we need to do is demand accountability among Republicans to stop paying lip service. George Bush enjoyed paying lip service to global warming fears, and we need to stop that first. There's no reason to concede an inch on the science on this. It's collapsing underneath them. It's a laughingstock. Just in the last few days, Arctic information came out. Danish Meteorological Institute. The Arctic has stayed the same since the 1950s. It's probably cooled since 1940s. We just came out the Greenland melt scenarios touted by Al Gore and NASA's James Hansen. Not even doable. The whole
Mark Morano. Mark, we got
collapsing, and we need to demand it. And once people realize what it's going to cost, I think the American people will wake up.
Mark, we've got a 1-minute break, and I have other guests in 3 minutes anyways. Can we come back and just do 2 more minutes? You can finish up with solutions and tell folks about the website. Can you come back and finish up in 1 minute?
Sure, I can do that.
Okay, fantastic. Mark Morano, ClimateDepot.com. Our site's Infowars.com.
Thank you
for listening to GCN. Be sure to visit GCNlive.com.